Hello and welcome everybody. GrimGamer back with a new video today, and today we're going to be talking about 10 heroes that I would like to see come to Marvel Rivals within the rest of this year. Obviously, this season brought us Deadpool and is going to bring us Elsa Bloodstone next season or next week. And then we're going to have next season, most likely Black Cat and White Fox, based off of the rumors that we've seen in the updates and like in the comic art and stuff like that that are in Marvel Rivals. So first off, we're going to be mentioning Black Cat, which I believe Black Cat will be really cool. I think that she is going to be a DPS. Obviously, with her kit and what she can do in the comics, I think DPS would make the most sense for her. She's going to have a lot of different gear that is going to probably be tactical and help in the fight, which will be pretty cool. And then we got White Fox, which I had never knew anything about White Fox until it was mentioned in Marvel Rivals. She is also known as Ami Han and possesses a range of mystical and superhuman abilities derived from her heritage as the last Kumiho, a mythical nine-tailed fox from Korean folklore. So it's heavily rumored that she's going to be able to transform into this nine-tailed fox that was just mentioned. She also has enhanced senses, superhuman attributes such as superhuman strength, speed, agility, durability, and stamina. She also can absorb energy, and through that energy, she can heal others, which is pretty cool, which is why I believe she is going to be a healer for Marvel Rivals. That I think would just make sense. She could also have some other abilities along with that, as strategists have now become more of an actual strategist hero and not, or strategist characters and not just heal bots, if that makes sense. The next one I'd like to talk about is Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men. Scott Summers, we all know him. He has been teased so many times in Marvel Rivals. We've seen what he looks like. He's definitely got to be coming. I believe he will be a DPS. Some people think he could be a Vanguard, which I could kind of see that, as he is the leader of the X-Men. But realistically, I think that Cyclops would benefit most as a DPS because just simply his abilities. He is meant to do a lot of damage. His visor and just the constant optic blasts, he could do a lot of damage, and I think DPS will fit him very well. The next character I'd like to go over is Death Dream, which is a lesser known X-Men character that I think a lot of people would find cool if they knew more about him. Death Dream is also known as Hotoru, and his powers include like necromancy, a death and a life state, and he can control like dead souls. He can choose between being in a state of life or death at will, and he can summon the souls of the powers of the deceased. He can let the spirits of the dead possess him, which can then change how he can, like, his powers are in that way limitless, because the dead can control him when he lets them possess him. And then when that happens, he can have the powers of any of those dead souls, quote unquote. This can, however, make him very unstable, and his powers can be very unpredictable. With this in mind, I think he could have a really, really cool and diverse moveset in Marvel Rivals. I think he'd be best as a strategist or maybe even a DPS. I'm leaning a little bit more towards strategist because he could heal, but he could be kind of like Gambit, where he can also have a really high damage potential as well. He could be very erratic and just kind of do some crazy things in the game that we probably have not seen yet. I think he'd be very unique, and his cosmetics could also be very, very cool. The one I'd like to talk about is Carnage, and we all know who Carnage is. Carnage is an absolute badass. I am actually going to say he should be a strategist because we have Spider-Man for DPS and we have Venom for Vanguard. I think Carnage would actually make a very, very good strategist because he could be similar to Gambit in the way that he can have a very, very high damage output and he can cause a lot of chaos while he can also be healing. How would that work? He could throw his symbiote at people to heal them, and then he could also throw it at enemies to do damage. He can also have a lot of abilities that do lashing, or we could include a new like bleed mechanic in the game with his nails. I think he could just have a lot of different powers, and that's why I think he could be a strategist and it would really benefit. He could also be a DPS, but I think they wouldn't be maximizing on the abilities that he could truly have when he could be a strategist. And then we can't go on through this list without adding another Spider-Man villain, the most iconic, in my opinion, or one of the most iconic at least, Green Goblin. This guy could be an absolute terror on the battlefield. If they incorporate his glider, his pumpkin bombs, and his just erratic behavior, he could be really fun to play as and very crazy to go against. I would honestly put him as only a DPS. He could not be a Vanguard. I guess he could be a strategist, but I don't think he would fit best as strategist. Green Goblin is always out for himself. He's not going to want to help anybody else. He is a DPS character through and through, and he could be really fun on the battlefield. The one I'd like to talk about is actually one of my favorite characters, and that is Man-Thing. He just looks so unique, and his powers are also so unique, and I think he'd fit so well into Marvel Rivals. And this is also going to be maybe potentially heading towards that October mark, so I think a monster themed update would be really cool. By the way, these are kind of meant to be in order based off a month. It doesn't mean that it's like concrete or that it should happen this way, but I'm kind of doing it in an order by update that it could be. Man-Thing possesses a range of unique powers, including the ability to manipulate plant life, an empathetic connection to emotions, and a burning touch that incinerates those who feel fear. So he's very interesting because if his opponents feel fear, and if he can sense that fear, he can start producing this acid that will just burn like anything it touches. He obviously can also manipulate any sort of plants, kind of similar to Groot, but he is also the guardian of the nexus of all realities, which kind of makes him a god. He also has infinite regeneration and borderline immortality. He would make an absolutely phenomenal tank, and I could just see his cosmetics going off the charts. I think Man-Thing is really cool, and I would just really like to see him in this game. I think he's been underrepresented in Marvel in some ways, and I'd really like to see him. And then for that Halloween spot, who else could it be other than the Ghost Rider? This guy is by far my favorite hero in Marvel. He has been for a very long time. He's just so cool. The devs did that poll in the beginning of Marvel Rivals and asked everyone who their favorite hero would be to come into the game. Ghost Rider won it. My question is, where is he? Because I am waiting patiently, and well, maybe not patiently, but I want him in the game. I did a hero concept for him, which y'all should check out if you haven't. He could be an absolutely amazing character in this game, and I'm done waiting for him. I love him, and I want him to be in this game. My next one is going to be Drax the Destroyer. And unfortunately, I don't understand why he got nerfed so much in the movies, because he actually has so many more capabilities than is represented in the movies. And he's one of the few missing Guardians in Marvel Rivals, including him and Gamora, and I guess a couple other, we could count Cosmo as well. But yeah, why isn't Drax in the game? So Drax not only has incredible strength, resilience, dexterity, all that kind of stuff, but in the comics, he can also have energy projection, which is very interesting. I never would have known that about Drax had I not looked it up and stuff. He can also fly, and he has some sort of connection to Thanos, which would be really cool to see in an update where Thanos could be the main villain. Within that, you could actually have Gamora and maybe Drax be released. I didn't include Gamora in this one, but Drax I think would be a really cool character to come out. I think he has some unique abilities, and he'd make a really cool tank. He'd be another one that could potentially fly, and maybe he could be have some beam attacks. I don't know. Drax would be really cool, and he should definitely be in the game. And for our final character for this list, I'm going to go with good old-fashioned Captain Marvel. I mean, she'd be really cool in the game. She'd be another flying tank. She could probably have some abilities similar to Angela, where she can cause some displacement. She could also be kind of a damage dealer. I think she would be really cool. She's also Captain Marvel, just a very iconic hero. We all have mixed feelings on the one that has been in the MCU, but I think she would be excellent in the game. I know that she is a huge Marvel character, and what better to end the second year anniversary for Marvel Rivals than to add someone like that into the game. If you guys have any more recommendations, go ahead, leave them down below. I'd love to hear what you guys would like to see in the game. Some other honestly really good noteworthy ones Could also be Juggernaut, several other X-Men characters, including like Beast or Nightcrawler. There's just so many different characters. Ant-Man. I could go on and on and on. These are just instant ones that keep coming to my mind. There are so many characters in the Marvel Universe that could be added to this game. You guys, I'm sure, have plenty of ideas. If you do, let me know down below. Let me know what you think of this list. I'd love to hear it. If you guys did like this video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe as well. It would be greatly appreciated, and it lets me know that you like this content. Anyways, I think that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.